week are really created to give you a little bit of interaction and a bit of a meetup. And as mentioned last week, I want to reconnect these on a Monday. If time is not suitable for you, then please message me, or you've got a chat box on this function. You can always let me know what is a better time, and if we can try and coordinate it around that, then I don't mind. But we often try and cross multiple time zones, so it can be a little bit tricky unless we hold maybe two. And as we expand some of the agents in certain regions, then we may have to hold two, which is fine. So, look, we record them, but part of the reason that I really like you there is so that we can have that interaction and so that you can ask questions and really get involved in what's going on a regular basis. So let's carry on. This week's session is really a bit of a clarification of last week, and I'll chat about a few points to do with that. And then what I want to do is discuss a little bit about CRMs, which we didn't discuss last week, because I think that's important, and more agents are starting to get involved with CRMs. If you're not sure what a CRM is, it's a customer relationship management tool or website which allows you to really keep track of all your clients, phone numbers, addresses, email addresses, and log history, all those sorts of things. But you can actually run campaigns from a number of CRMs, not all CRMs. And that can be very useful for keeping in touch with your client, your we call them event organizers, and also your hotels, so that if you're occasionally sending them a message, an email, when the time's right for them to use you as a service, they're going to know who you are, and it's a pretty easy one, and they know how to get in contact with you. You're in front of them all the time. And for hotels, it's a bit similar, where you can message them on the different types of events that Hotels TV are working on. And when you go to call them, they have an idea of why you're calling, and they're quite responsive, because to them it's a very attractive booking. Once they get their head around what we're doing, it's a very attractive booking, because they know they're going to do multiple rooms, they're going to have a good quality client that spends money in the hotel, all those sort of reasons. So I will give you a bit of an overview from last week. Sorry about the interruptions. I'm still having some messages from some of the agents that are trying to log in, but that's fine. Everyone should have received the email the first time anyway. It went to an email address that you designated, that not necessarily Hotels TV, but one of the other ones that you use. So if we're not up to date with that particular email address, please let me know, and we'll get that updated in the system so that you do receive the regular emails. And then, as I said, we're going to go for this on a Monday night again, as we used to do until not that long ago. But we want a time where we know you're available. Last week, what we discussed was analytics. That was one of the points where we want you to be able to analyze the work you're doing. So not only creating the PBA, and I might just take you on while we're doing this to the website. So not just creating the PBA. So let's look at this event, ISCA, as a bit of an example. So ISCA is the International Sport Karate Association of Australia. This is an event that we're working on here. out of this office, and we've got a couple of selected hotels. We've got negotiated rates. That rate there is around about $20 cheaper per night than Booking.com, and that's been arranged directly with the hotel, of course. And they're very open and understanding as to why they need that rate. So that PBA is all set up, which is great. If we go on to ISCA's own website, too many W's. Okay, isca.com.au. It's not the greatest website in the world, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. They've got 3,000 or 4,000 people on Facebook. They've got 7,000 or 8,000 in their email distribution list, and they've got this event coming up, which is the Australian National Championships. And of course, if you look over to this side, Hotels TV are the official partners, and you can just link through to that page. So really, ideally, you want to monitor that. You also want to monitor Facebook. So if we look at ISCA on Facebook, ISCA Australia, we expect, and we do know, this is the one here, we expect them to be promoting the hotels. That's the agreement we have with them. I haven't seen a post more recently, but I've messaged them today to push on with that. But effectively, here you go. This is linked to the booking website, which, of course, as we saw, is this, and that is linked to Hotels TV. But they also have an email distribution list, and they email people, and they've got the Facebook page as well. They're the main forms of marketing that they use for their events. They occasionally do some videos and all sorts of things like this. As you can see there, 3,336. So how do we analyze how effective this marketing is? Well, using Google Analytics is the best way to do it. So just as a recap, so when we go to analytics, so you go and set all this up, which is pretty easy to do. If you go through your emails here on the right-hand side, you will see here and be able to go to, you should be able to go to analytics. Where's my analytics? Google Ads. Anyway, okay, I can't see it there, but let's go to analytics. So it's basically google.com/analytics. And when we go into analytics, I've already got it set up. And because you've got a Gmail address through your Hotels TV email, that's hosted on Gmail. The reason we do that is so that you can access analytics. So we have to have a different lesson on exactly how you set up your analytics. So which side are we on at the moment? Hotels TV. Okay, so if we go into behavior and site content and all pages, we can start to have a look at the traffic over the last week. And what we can do is simply select here and say, okay, well, let's say since the start of November until today, let's apply that. Let's have a look at the different traffic that's going on depending on the agents, the events, I should say, that we're doing. So here's one for ISCA. So we've only had 20 entries in the past week, which is very low. If you look at the Muslim convention, which is another event we're doing, we've had 116 entries, which is not setting the world on fire, but they were actually busier before. That event was busier. So it also reminds you by looking at analytics that you have to keep connecting with your event organizers and make sure they're pushing you, because clearly they've got other things to do and they've got events to run. We don't deny them that at all, but obviously at the same time, we want to make sure we're reaching as many people as possible, as close to the event as possible. And so it really makes sense to give them a reminder nicely. So let's have a look at ISCA. So we can drill down using analytics and see where those 20 have actually gone. So, actually, unique page views, there's been more. There's been 53 unique page views. So some people have come in other ways into the site. Some of the interesting things, if you look at Destination ISCA, that is basically this page. Okay. So that is basically this page, right? Hopefully you can see all that. And what we've got on analytics is the ability to look at that. What are some of the things that we're looking for? Well, some of the things is obviously which page they're going for. So we can see they're doing a search, okay? And the main search that's come up, or a couple of times, is the 16th of November. So we can actually see the dates that they're searching. So there's been quite a few. And the 16th is the Saturday night, I believe. And as we drill down further, Mercure Hotel is the most popular one. And that's really them. I mean, it's mainly one hotel we're promoting, to be honest, with them at the moment. But what you'll notice here as well, which is very good, is the bounce rate. And the bounce rate is 31.25%. That is very good. That means that 69% stayed on the page. Now, as you've probably heard with different webinars, and I think this one from last week was the same, is that an average bounce rate of a website is probably around 60%, maybe even 70 in some respects. So anything below that is pretty good. In the 30s is excellent, but a lot of our events, we even get lower than that because the page is so specific. People are linking from the event organizer's website and they're coming directly into a page to do with hotel bookings for their event. So it's very relevant. So it's really important that people find things relevantly. And that then increases your search engine optimization in Google as well. So it does a lot of good things. Let me see. As you see, the Muslim convention is 39%, which is very good. And that's had a good response. We've done a lot of bookings for that event. ISCA, yeah, we've got another one that's come in that's 50%. So yeah, those 33, 31% is very good. Okay, so that's something to do with the analytics side. I mean, there's lots of other things you can do in analytics. You can actually see real time who's looking at the page. You can see where they come from. You can also find the source. So if we go back to ISCA and we search that, and we want to know what is driving these clicks here, we can actually choose acquisition and source. And if you have a look under source here, direct, people are coming in directly. They're coming in via the Hotels TV website first. You can also drill it down even further to say the referral path. Okay, we've got to have that set up for that event. Acquisition, source medium. Okay, So as we can see, one thing this tells us is that we're not getting enough promotion from Facebook, because a lot of their events are run through Facebook, promoted through Facebook. But the reason the numbers are probably so down is because they're not really pushing us on Facebook at all. They're pushing us on their main website, and that's where the direct link is coming from that site before, but not from their Facebook. And on their Facebook site, there is 3,336 people. And a lot of these people, because it's close to the event as well, they actually will be engaging with Facebook. So it's a really good time to promote it. So that's why we're kind of pushing the organizers to say, come on, we need that promotion. The other thing you can do with this is you can create a Facebook group. So let's say, for example, you called this ISCA Hotels. So you don't have to call it Hotels TV ISCA or anything like that. You could just call it ISCA Hotels, and you're doing this in conjunction with the organizer, and they can then connect their page to the group page. And what that means is that out of these 3,000 people, or however many are actually attending the event, you could be discussing with them. It might be rates, they might be asking about different rooms, but you can create a conversation so that everyone to do with hotel bookings who needs a hotel will congregate around your group page and ask you questions, and you can easily post the link there to put them back onto the website so that they can actually make a booking. But that is a very good way to build trust and long-term trust as well, because obviously, well, not obvious, but ISCA has 20 events around Australia. So, once you've got these people in your group, you can then use that group and those contacts to promote the other 19 events. So it's a great way to, I wouldn't say steal the audience, but I'd say attract the audience so that you don't end up relying on the event organizer themselves to do all the promotion for you. You've got the market clicked into your Facebook group, and eventually you have the market that you can then do what you want with in respect to the accommodation for their events, that is. So that's a great way to do it. Create a group and attract them in. If you need any information on that, obviously look up YouTube on creating groups on Facebook. They're very, very good to do. It's a great way to attract them in. So, and then you can measure all those links from Facebook back into the analytics, and then you know what's working and what doesn't. So whatever campaign you put together, as you can see here, look at the page views. So we can see that on the 5th of November, there was a bit of a spike where we had 30 odd people come in on that day, and then it's kind of fallen away. And that is a big red flag to say, the organizer needs to give you a push. And that shows that. So every time the organizer will give you a push, they'll give you a spike, you'll get some bookings out of it. So if you can keep spike, it's a case of just keeping on top of it. Analytics and stats are the thing that are going to show you the way there. So hopefully that, sorry, I was off the page. I am here to answer questions as well. So I'm going to refer back to some questions coming in. Hi, Vanessa. Vanessa in Madrid is there. Some of you guys would have spoken to Vanessa already. How do you get the audience to join your Facebook group? Okay. You will join it. You will connect them to the ISCA group. So you'll do it in conjunction with the person who runs the actual where your clients are. Create the group and get the event to allow you to put posts on their Facebook page, or they put posts linking to the group. The other thing you can do is you can go and invite the people to the group. So if we go back, just to use this as a bit of an example. So let's go through some of the posts, and we can see from this post, if we click this link, there are 3 people so far connected to this particular event. Let's click on them, right? So if you're posting this from the group, you can request add a friend to your group using this. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So Facebook has this amazing ability to create people around and likes and everything else that's going on with their event. But they also give you the ability to click on those likes and see everyone who's there. So anyone who's around that event, you can add them as a friend to your group, right? Then they have to okay it. But if your group is called ISCA Hotels, there's going to be very little barrier or very little, or your group is called ISCA Discounted Hotels or something that attracts them in. And then you can create a conversation. But don't just, you've got to have some content in there. Yeah, put some nice questions in there, or a few statements, or a couple of pictures first to say, look, we've got a rate that's $20 a night cheaper. It's right around the corner from the venue. Check this out. Show a video, put a post, put an image, link it back to your booking page, and then create another conversation around it. Hey, has anyone got any questions about the hotel? Or, so this is where you can become familiar with the hotel. Make sure you've got a little bit of information. I mean, if you are really proactive, and I mean really, really proactive with that, you could book a session with, let's say you got 50 people or 100 people on your Facebook group. Invite the reservations manager at the hotel to come on to a Facebook Live video and tell everyone that you've organized this just for them, so they can ask whatever questions they want to the reservations manager of this hotel. So not only does this create amazing trust, they get to talk to the hotel where they're going to be staying and find some useful information. But everyone loves to get to know the reservations manager, because if they ever need it for whatever reason in the future, they get discounts and so on. So, it's really attractive, if there was a group organized for you for your hotel and you're part of a club, you'd probably enjoy it as well. So these are things, activity. Put these activities. They're not hard to do. It might be a little bit of learning to basically put the Facebook group together if you've never done one. So, we live in 2019, nearly 2020. The amount of technology we have at our disposal that we don't use very often, such as Facebook, and learning about exactly what it can do. It can get you so close to your consumers. It's amazing. Some events, do their bookings through Twitter. So you would do the same with Twitter, and you can really access their markets. But this is a great way to focus on anything, even when you want to get event organizers. And so you want to stick in the pharmaceutical industry, or you want to stick in martial arts. If you have a look through that website, you'll find other clubs that have also, or other competitions that may also be following ISCA. And that means you can actually then approach those other clubs. And so when you send a message to them and say, we're the official booking agents for ISCA, they're going to go, I know you are. And then you say, well, can we work together? And they'll probably say yes, because they've seen you, they understand what it's all about. So, like anyone in their own business will go and follow maybe some competitors, so they're constantly finding out some of that information. And then once again, you track all that activity back through your analytics so you know it's working. And that's free. I mean, that costs nothing. Analytics doesn't cost anything. Clicking on a few links on Facebook and creating an audience for a group that's very relevant, you might end up with 100 groups. So what? Don't build, or my recommendation is, don't build like for you, Vanessa, for example, just use you as an example. Don't build a Vanessa group that everyone comes to, because there might be 50 different events, and therefore it's not relevant to some of the people, some of the stuff you're talking about. Don't be everything to everyone. If you create a group, create it for the event. And if it's an annual event, keep recruiting people into that group throughout the course of the year, very, very simply. And you'll find that once you get the event for next year, you've got a ready-made audience that you can start to push deals to, and it's yours. It's your audience. You control it. So hopefully that's just a message back from Vanessa. Got it. Very useful indeed. This way you can really get to the audience when you get little feedback from the event organizer. You can only push the event organizers so far. Generally, I've found them to be very cooperative, and they want to get the message out to everyone to let them know the hotel deals are available, even if they're not motivated by money, or maybe they're not getting any, maybe it was never a deal at the start. They're still motivated to make sure their attendees are receiving a benefit. And some are more motivated than others. Some want more bookings than others. But if you can put, even if you're not giving them a share of the commission, maybe you put, say for every 20 rooms booked, we're going to give you a room free, or we'll give you a discounted room later after the event. Even just a free accommodation at a hotel could be enough incentive for them to really push it. And we could probably get them an industry rate anyway, travel trade rate. Even if you had to pay for it, we could do it. But generally the hotels would do that as long as it's not a peak period. So these are great things to do. And yes, you're right. As you said, Vanessa, it does make you self-sufficient in that capacity as well. And especially if you're dealing with that event, like I said, for a long period of time. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, but analytics get you to track that and the success of it and whether it's effective and all those sorts of things. The second point we went over last week was, and I don't want to really repeat everything, but I just wanted to summarize it. And please ask questions if you went through the video or you were on the webinar last week and you didn't get to ask questions, please ask them this week. Better relationships. Better relationships help you with what we just discussed as far as the event organizers go and getting the cooperation. If you've got a much closer relationship and they really understand the benefit that and the opportunity they have to benefit their attendees and even themselves, then they'll work very closely with you, and likewise with the hotels. So if you can just make sure that the hotels are as connected into your events as possible, then you will get more cooperation from them. And I use one of the situations, a case in Johannesburg, where I spent over an hour discussing the event with the hotel over Skype. And by the end of the conversation, the hotel were really excited. They were prepared to stick more value in and give discounted vouchers, and whatever other added value, a free minibus to take people to the shopping center and to the train station. And, they were very, very keen to impress because I created a really good relationship with them and told them that this is more of a partnership that we're trying to put together. And during the event, we're going to provide them some publicity as well, because they're only one of, say, 4 or 5 hotels that are going to be connected. and they're relevant to the event. One of the events is the hotel show in Africa, so it's a very relevant market for them. But they were very pleased. But that was because we had a good relationship with them. They understood they're going to be a partner, and the event organizer was also on board by saying they will do what they can to promote the hotel. They understand it's also important that the hotel gets extra exposure. And so these are all free things. They don't cost anything to the event organizer, to the hotels, really, to do a little bit extra. It's just them having the incentive. And if you've got a good relationship, that's where the incentive is. So if there's any questions on that, please send it through. One of the other things we discussed is the rate changes. Well, I mean, the best available rates we've always worked with. More recently, we've started to go into more of these advanced purchase rates, and they do work well. And the advanced purchase rates are when you basically get a non-refundable, non-cancelable advanced purchase rate from the hotel. That is a net rate, meaning without commission. Some hotels refer to net rates as without breakfast. Well, I would rather a net rate being without commission but includes breakfast, perhaps. But if you really want to get cheap, get rid of the breakfast, get rid of the commission, and get down to the net rate as far in advance as possible, and tell the hotel it's only for a limited period, like 2 weeks. So you want a best available rate that you can sell from now till the event, whenever that is, but you want an advanced purchase rate now for the next 14 days, just to stimulate the business. The hotels win because they get really early bookings. They're non-refundable and non-cancelable. Hotels TV will take the payment for those, and we will immediately pay the hotel their percentage. Being a net rate without commission means, compared to what the market rate is, we can put a markup of 10 or 15% on that rate, book it, it's done, non-cancelable, non-refundable, pay the hotel, what money's left is ours, and then we send your portion directly over to you. So like in Johannesburg, the event's in June, so it's a long time to wait before we can pick any money up. But there'll be a lot of bookings then in June. But if we can do a number of advanced purchase rates, not just one, but maybe one every month, every couple of months, we do another advanced purchase rate. They got 7 days to book this. They get a cheap rate. There's an incentive for them to do that early. And you get to pick up commissions all the way between now and 6 months, as well as with the other people that are booking through a best available rate and paying when they get to the hotel. So it can be a really handy thing to add into your pitch, when you're talking to the hotels, that you can even call them flash sales. So tell the hotel you want to do 3 or 4 flash sales. Now, keep in mind, if the event's in June and you're talking to one hotel and they give you 3 or 4 flash sales during the next 6 months, you've also got 3 or 4 other hotels, right? So if you alternate the flash sales, so you're not doing them all together, then you can spread that out, and you'll do bookings throughout the time until the event on the advanced purchase rate, as well as whatever comes from the best available rate. So hopefully that's pretty clear. We also discussed buying cycles, and I'll come back to this because I'll use this as an example with the CRM, because recognizing the buying cycles in each part of your journey. Everyone goes through a buying cycle. The event organizer has to buy you, even though you don't charge them any money. They have to accept it. So there's a buying cycle. There's a stage that they're not even aware, then they're aware, and then they're really aware, So they're gathering information and then they're ready to make a decision. And that's the same with everyone, whether it's, to be honest, it's the hotel booking guest is doing the same thing. When they come along, there's an awareness point that the first time they see you or they're introduced to you by the event organizer, they're still sussing you out. They're still working out if that's an option for them. They perhaps weren't aware of you before. Now they're aware of you. But, everything we do is about solving a problem. The guest problem is they want to book a hotel, but they want to book the best rate, but maybe they need a cancellation policy. Maybe they don't. So they're going through their own buying journey. The event organizer, when they first come to you, they're going through their buying journey. And there's always an information gathering area, and then it's a funnel. Then it goes into really considering. So information and then considering the prospect until they become a booking. So if you're aware of those stages in the funnel, when you direct your conversation at the event organizer, or you're doing an email campaign, such as through a CRM, or you're just emailing people, it's important that you understand their buying journey so you can direct the right message. So and this is part of the mistake that people had made in the past before we started training on this as well. If you just pick the phone up and you call an event organizer and go, "Hi, it's Harrison. I'd like to book all the people attending your event. Or I'm calling to see if you have any hotels to book for your event." It's too direct. Okay, so they're not even in that funnel yet. It's too much of just trying to ask someone to buy something right then and there. Whereas what you need to do, and what is effective now in this day and age, which has changed over the last 20, 30 years, is the way people buy things. They want information for free first. So they want, and this is what the internet does all the time. It gives away something free. Hey, do you want an ebook? Do you want the same thing we do with recruiting agents? Here's some information. I don't want anything at this point. I just want to tell you, look, we do events. We do bookings for events. We've got events all around the world, and we've got clients, and they're really happy, and they go and book their hotels. So I'm not telling or selling anything to the event organizer at this point. I'm just saying, this is what we do. We've got technology, and we book hotels for events, and we connect a booking system to their website, and they're very happy, and the clients get 20 to 30% better rates, and it works really well. By the way, what do you do? If you're talking to them, you get into that kind of conversation. So you've introduced yourself with a little bit of information, and now you're just starting to chat to them. Say, I had a look on your website. It looks really, really interesting. Where are your guests coming from? They're coming from overseas and so on. They're booking hotels. Where do they normally book? What do you normally do? You ask them. So I'm still not selling them anything. I haven't asked them for anything at this point. And then you get the feedback through that conversation, and then you can hear the tone change where they start to ask you questions because they want to find out more, because it's really interesting and it's the right time for them, so they want more information. And that's when they're engaging with you, and that's the time that you can then propose to say, well, look, what I'll do is I'll send you an agreement. It costs you nothing. We become your booking agent. We attach a booking system to your website, and your guests will be really happy because they'll get great rates. And we use this exclusivity agreement to negotiate the best rates, because this is the only way the hotels can get to you. But you get to use our booking system for free, and your clients get great deals. So every time they book a stand at your show, they know they're going to get an added benefit, which encourages them to come back again and again. We've got some good hotels nearby, so on. So how does that sound to you? Can I send you an agreement, some information? Just sign that, send it back. So that's taking them through their buying cycles. And so what I did, I went through this last week in more detail, but according to a very smart person called Eugene Schwartz, there's 5 stages to the buying cycle. So unaware, so they don't know they have a problem. Problem aware, whereas they know they have a problem, where they either need a booking system or the client needs to make a hotel booking, but they didn't know about your solution to that problem. Okay, so now they're starting to become familiar. Solution aware, whereas they know there's solutions out there, but they didn't know you. So before, they didn't know there were any solutions, and they just started to understand their problem. Then the 4th one is product aware, whereas they're aware of your product, but they're not quite sure if your product serves them yet. Okay, so they're aware you exist, so they know they have a problem. They're aware you exist, but they're not quite sure if they need a bit more information to see that you've got a better rate than booking.com, if that's their motivation, or you've got the key hotel that everyone attending that event is going to be staying at. So these are the facts they need to find out. And then it's most aware, where they're just about ready to go or they're ready to book, but they might message you with one odd bit information. Hey, what's the cancellation policy, or what's this, or what's that, or the agent might say, well, how do we link it? And you tell them, well, we give you a URL and you just link it, or we can give you an image and you can link it, or make a page on your website for us. So that's kind of the buying stages. Now, with using a CRM, what a CRM allows you to do, rather than using a spreadsheet, is the CRM allows you to, and I'll show you a bit of a snippet of the one I have. Okay. So this gathers all the information about the clients. Okay, and it puts them into a screen where you can list their telephone number, their email address, and you can edit that, and you can write any notes, any conversations that you had with them. You can just write down there, following up, first conversation. And so you build a whole list down there. Any of the emails you send them through using a CRM, it can actually measure them. It sees when they've been opened or not. And this is a great way that you can easily see if your clients are opening your email. If they're not opening your email, one of the things it could be telling you is that your emails are going to spam folders. And therefore, it's worth giving the client a call to make sure they're aware of this, and so they then look in their spam folders. If they look in their spam folders and they bring that out, then all your emails will not go into spam anymore once they've done that. But that is a really good way to measure that. You can set tasks, follow-ups, events like appointments, and then your appointments go into your calendar. So you can easily see what appointments you've got coming up, when you need to call people. And through these CRMs, you can even email a link so that they can book themselves. Just like you book in for training, you use the same calendar link. That's all generated through the CRM. I couldn't live without the CRM. And it allows you then to track any emails that you've actually sent out. It allows you to track the effectiveness, how many opens, how many clicks, and it's a great way to track everything. And what happens is you can create email campaigns within your CRM. Okay, I'll show you this. I'll show you one here. Okay. So you can create an email campaign within this. and it gives you templates to use. And what you can do is put a new title in, just like you'd normally send an email, but you're doing it within this, and allows you to make an HTML, in other words, using nicely set out with images and everything else. And you can email that. So here's one: free hotel booking system for your event website. The accommodation bookings of your attendees and guests can make or break your event and cost you time and money. Let us help you. Blah, blah, blah. So you make up an email like that, and you link it to wherever you want to link it to. You save that, and that becomes a campaign set in this system. And then you can do some really cool things like do 4 or 5 of these in a row. So if I drag another one here, all right, I won't put anything in it yet. Oh, I have to name it. But I can make a second one, and I can then join it up with this line and set a time that it basically connects. So that means this campaign goes out on a Monday, for example, and 3 days later, the next campaign would go out. So you could set these up over the course of an hour, write campaigns and activate them. You name the event here, and you go onto your client back on the other screen that we looked at, and you drag the tag in there. So what did we say that one was? I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say it's, it's an ebook. Okay, your ebook tags come up, and that's sent. The ebook tag comes there, but what that's just done is initiate that email campaign. As simple as that. And then it keeps a whole record of all the different campaigns and who opened what and what actually happened all the way down the page. So it's brilliant to keep track of that. So if you fill your list full of event organizers, so you see events come up on Google, and then what you do is you call them up, you get the correct email address and the contact, and you put them into your CRM, and then you drag that tag on there. What you're doing is initiating a campaign, so you don't even have to do anything after a while. Yes, follow them up with a phone call every now and again, but you could have 1,000 event organizers set into your system, and all you do is drag and drop. Now, getting back to what I was saying about the buyer's journey, is that if you understand that, when you write those emails, you can tailor the content of that to suit the journey. So as I said, you can link one campaign to the next. So that should reflect the buyer's journey. The first one is information as if people are unaware and they don't even know they have a problem. So the first campaign would be something like, hey, did you know that your attendees to your event are probably paying too much because you could be getting them a better rate by being an event? And then the second one that goes out, right, is that they know they have a problem now. So it might be can't find the right booking system or partner for your event, so that's now appealing to the next stage. And so anyone who comes in fresh comes in at the top, obviously. And then the third one, solution aware, they know the solutions out there, but they don't know you. So the next one is something like, Hotels TV have been booking hotels for events for 20 years. Here are some of the events we work with, and this is how we help people. So it's information, but it's actually educating them as to why we can how we can solve their problem. And then product aware, they're product aware, but they're not quite sure that we suit their market. So other email campaigns you put together might be things like, did you know the hotel, obviously you're aware of Hotels TV now, but did you know that the Hotels TV system could give you access? Or did you know that the Hotels TV system could offer 10 different hotels or 2 different hotels or whatever may be in the thought pattern of your event organizers. So it's kind of putting yourself in the shoes. Now, these events organizers may come back to you after the first email, but if they don't, they're going through what we call a nurture stage or a long-term nurture stage. And you can just keep the conversations going. So even over the next year or two, you can keep adding another campaign. So it keeps nurturing these people so that when it is the right time for them to launch their event or to consider the accommodation side or housing side, you've been targeting them and talking to them at stages that they can really understand and educating them. And it's very, very effective. You've probably received it. Looking for business opportunities, looking at doing marketing. The internet is full of this, but perhaps you haven't realized the technique behind what's going on. But this is actually what's happening through that nurturing stage. It's very, very effective. Okay. Sorry, back to the questions. I see you use Agile CRM. How does that license work? Can it be used also by agents? I use one from Team Leader, but it's not so complete. That's true. There's a lot of CRMs out there that are just databases, really, that they don't have an email marketing element or a marketing element to it. Agile that I use is actually very good. It even allows you to create landing pages. So it is a marketing suite. So imagine let's say you have created that Facebook group, right? And you've attracted all that audience into the group, and you don't, because it's not, think about the buying cycle, to drop them straight onto your PBA, your main page, might be too fast for these people. They might want a frequently asked questions page, or I do webinars all the time, as you know, like this. You could use webinar technology. You could actually, you don't even need it, sorry. On Facebook, there is Facebook Live. You could just, like I said before, have a session and almost do a webinar to these people, but then drive them to a landing page. So the landing page might say something like, you're interested in booking accommodation. Well, these are the advantages that you get. When you're ready to book your accommodation, click this link and you'll go through to the page. So you almost install a capture page. And so you could say to them, everyone who joins my group is going to get a fruit basket in the room when they book their accommodation through me. So that's an incentive for them to join the group, right? Then you lead them to another page to capture their details, to put them into your CRM. And so that might be, an opt-in for our email list, and you'll get a bottle of wine in the room. So they come onto the page and do that. So this is even before they go through to the booking, because as a funnel goes, you could lead them into the group and lead them into the landing page or lead them straight into the website. You're still not assured that they're going to book anything. So at least if they go through the landing page, you're capturing their details. And this isn't event organizers. We're talking about booking guests now of the event. So you can then put an email campaign using Agile directly to the guests that are staying. So all the ones who have come through but haven't booked yet, you send another email that basically talks about, not having booked yet, so you can be quite direct. So not everything, just so you're aware, not every conversation is as blunt as going, book this hotel. Here's a hotel, book it. People want to be courted. They want information. They want to build trust with you. They want something to educate them, something for free. It could be a little bit of information. Another good thing to do for a group is, set up a time where you can have Facebook Live in the group. And what you want to do is just talk about the facilities in the area. So I'm going to talk at 6 o'clock. I'm going to tell you all about what's going on in the area the weekend you're coming. So not only do you go to the karate event, you're going to have a great time, but there are other things going on afterwards or before, or, tune in. So you're building trust with these people. They see that you know what you're doing. They see that you're, switched on. They see that you're helpful. Who else are they going to book through? So, understand the buying stages. Don't always go in for the jugular. Give them a little bit. It's fishing, and then bring them in slowly. Look, we do it all the time when we're selling licenses to people, because we understand that before you guys came in, and a lot of people have been looking at this 5-6 years before they join as an agent. We've been feeding them. I'm not saying it's going to take that long with your events and with your guests. It's a quicker turnaround, let's say. But, you wanted information first. You wanted to feel comfortable. You wanted to trust the system and trust me and trust the people in the organization and the brand and do some research. And that's all fine. These people will do this in a much quicker time because they need to make a booking, but they will still do it in their own way. You would do it, and you still do it. Every time you go and make a hotel booking, what do? The most common thing people do is go and look at 2 or 3 different websites, compare the rates, look at the hotel's own website and have a look and just make sure that's the right area and the description's okay. Some people even watch a YouTube video of the hotel or the area before they book anything. Generally, they do go on to the event organizer's page and they read about the event. But some people do this in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then they're fine to make a booking. Some people take 24 hours, 48 hours. Some people take 7 or 14 or 21 days until they book something. Some people love booking things last minute. It's up to us to change that with them a little bit by nurturing them through the process and then putting an offer to them, such as an advance purchase rate that's so attractive. They've got no issue with trusting us. They've seen us. They know we're endorsed by the event. They're ready to book. But just understand, you can stage it. And, it depends on the event, depends on where the audience is. If they're on Facebook, then it's an easy one. You just follow that track. And we'll talk about different ways of doing it. We generally, in the advanced, as some of you know, in the advanced marketing stages, we go through this in a bit more detail. If you're fairly new in the business, then some of this may seem like a little bit more work. It's not necessary, but in the same sense, if you want to do more bookings, then that sort of activity is really recommended because it's you engaging with your market. Like I say, it only costs you time. It doesn't cost you anything else to do that. And that's where your audience is. So it's only going to be beneficial to bookings. You're only going to do more bookings by doing that. And it's not difficult to do. You might take you 1 or 2 goes and a couple of Facebook tutorials or a YouTube tutorial, but generally it's pretty good. Excuse me. I'm on the end of a cold over here. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, I guess, today, and just on that, sorry, I didn't answer your question. The way the license works with a CRM, mine costs me about $79 a month. There are different versions. So if you don't have many clients or you don't have a big database when you start, there's a free version generally. And then there's a paid version for $30, and then it goes up to the top one. I'm just looking at the moment as to what I can do with my version. If you come onto my version, I can add users in there, but they will charge me $79 for every single user that comes on. So, and that includes the marketing program. Like Vanessa's just saying, she gets charged 20 euros a month. So there are so many different CRMs. Just having a CRM is fantastic. And it's much better than a spreadsheet. And you can then export the information to a new CRM out of it, a bit like converting it to a CSV file or an XLX file, or you can move that sort of stuff around. So there are cheap ways you can get in, but I don't know of any really cheap ways that include the marketing platform. And just keep in mind with Agile, even they charge you. Well, I'll show you here. They charge you for the emails you send out. Okay, so here's the $79, $79.99 for one user. Okay, they have a regular version, $49.99. Once again, it's US dollars, or they have a starter version. There you go, $14.99. So this is for 5 campaigns, 10,000 contacts. So that's pretty good. I've got more than 10,000 contacts, which I've had to go for the bigger one. 5 campaigns would be email campaigns. So that could be a good one to start with. This one is 10 campaigns, and this one is unlimited campaigns. I mean, I send campaigns out constantly. So that's the one for me. For emails, though, you've got to buy them by the 1,000, and it's $3 per 1,000 emails that you send out. So what I tend to do is I tend to buy 10 or 20,000 at a time. You know, it only costs me like $50. But I do a lot of emails, not just with hotels and events, but obviously to people looking at buying a business. So I send out, I don't know, 20, 30,000 emails on a regular basis. So it's not that expensive to do it, but it is an extra charge, and it does stack up after a while. That's my only criticism with this, is the fact that you end up having to pay as well for the email campaigns. But I guess it's based on use, you know. But as far as everything else, it does really well. So I'll look at how, like, I can add users onto this, but then it's going to be at that plan, at the 79 plan. So if you came on, I'd have to segregate my content. So, but then I could actually help you, because I'd be able to go inside and you'd be able to use some of the templates I've already got set up in the marketing campaign. So that would be useful to you, because like anything, there's a learning curve. And because I've been through it and been using it for a couple of years now, I tend to know what's useful on it. So that could be a good option, but I'll find out. I'm actually looking also at another system at the moment, which has a more advanced training area for you. So it's more of a lesson planning. So the agents, you can have your own platform, which has the YouTube videos already there. It has the Dropbox information on it, so you don't have to use YouTube or Dropbox. Everything is contained in the one unit, and it's a CRM, and it's a marketing program, and you can make landing pages. But I think to use something like that, you would have to get more advanced with your use of marketing this way. So I don't want to bombard you. I just think it's a good way to start. Start with something very, very easy. Get your event organizers listed in there and start to send them out a couple of email campaigns. Once again, don't be a perfectionist. Just start it. That's all I recommend. Just start it, because you can't use your Gmail account, because Gmail will just switch you off. Once they see that you're regularly sending emails to groups, they will just switch you off, and they could black mark you. They could black mark the Hotels TV domain name. That has happened in the past. and then we have to write to them and say, no, we weren't doing that, we were doing this. And so they're very particular on not using normal email addresses to do bulk email. You have to go through a bulk email program. Some CRMs give you that facility, that's all. Jeff has asked a question, would you recommend Chipmunk? Jeff, I don't know Chipmunk, to be honest. I'll write it down. I'll have a look. Maybe I can come back on another one. What's Chipmunk? Is Chipmunk's a CRM, I'm assuming? Does anyone else know Chipmunk out there? I'll look at it. It's a CRM platform. And it is for email campaigns as well. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, just a couple of messages just coming in. So Chipmunk sounds good. What's the cost, Jeff? If you've got a cost, that could be helpful to everyone. What do you spend a month on Chipmunk? Like I say, there's a number of CRMs out there. You know, Salesforce was one of the first ones. HubSpot, I think, is another one, which is a good one for marketing. But there's loads of different types depending on what sort of industry you're in and what it's suited for. Vanessa's written specialist. I haven't heard of specialist either. A lot of companies use that in Spain. Question from Martin. Hi, Martin. Martin's our new agent in Utah in the USA. So welcome to you, Martin. Nice to have you on these webinars. So if any of you guys have any clients who want to do some bookings in the USA, and I know Vanessa's had some bookings in the US more recently, Martin could be a good contact for you out there. So we'll hook up some voice and video in the coming weeks so you can all meet. Okay, Martin's question, in Agile, can you export your campaigns or only share them if done on the enterprise basis? In Agile, I don't, if you mean export the lists, you can export the contacts list. You can send the email campaigns. I don't believe you can export the campaign, meaning the artwork for the email. Okay, so every time I send you an email, just if you picture this, if you're not sure out there, the emails I send to you, even the ones that are to do with the webinar that you registered on, that's all generated from Agile. It's a template that I set up, and then I use that each time and just change the text, change the subject and everything. It's very easy once you've got it set up. Could I export that to another program? Not. I could probably export a list of the tags that I used, but it wouldn't export the it wouldn't export the actual artwork. That is kind of coded into the system, if you like. You know, you could, mind you, saying that, there is a screen that allows you to view the HTML code, which is the web design code. You could just copy it. You might have to change the format in another program, but if you copied that, just thinking out loud, if you copied that HTML and stored it on a file off Agile, you could probably then put it into a new email program, and then you'd have similar style. But you could export the records. Hopefully that's answered your question, Martin. Maybe I have understood it, or maybe not sure. Drop a message in if you need something else clarified. Jeff's questions, you could look it up and let me know what you think. Okay, yeah, I'll have a look into that. Vanessa, great. Nice to have you on board, Martin. I think you can see these comments as well. That's what you're asking, the campaign itself. Okay, good. We've clarified that. Okay. Yeah, great. Great. So, look, that's really useful. Thanks very much for your connectivity with this. Say I'm recording it as well, but it's always great if you're there live and we can pull some further information out of it. We'll be back next Monday about the same time. I'll see if I can look into Chipmunk in the meantime. But if you've got any options or CRMs that you've found and you'd like to discuss them, or you've got some information, that'd be great. As you've no doubt seen, people in different cities and different countries tend to use different technology. And some of that can just be trend, some of that's awareness. So it's really interesting to be open to that, especially, like anything, it's the buying cycle. There's the awareness stage, and there's the consideration stage, and there's the onboarding and let's get going stage. So there's 5 stages I said before, but if you just think of them very simply as awareness, consideration, and buying, your clients are going through the same thing. So sometimes don't bombard them. Give them some information first, and then take them into the consideration stage, and then take them through into the part where you do some business. Great. Well, I think our time's up. I think we've run over time, but thanks very much. We try to keep it 45 minutes to an hour. As a lot of the agents will tell you, I tend to talk way past that. So I try to control myself. But hopefully you found that interesting and of use. Later today or tomorrow, I'll upload that onto the YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed onto that channel. It'll be listed under the webinar box, and you should automatically receive a notification as a subscriber when I add the video on, which is the idea of doing it. So I don't necessarily have to create another email campaign to say, hey, the video's out, go and look at it. You'll get it automatically. That's what the internet's all about, making life a little bit easier for you. So the same principles that I tend to use on recruiting agents, maintaining agents, keeping records, training agents, these same things that you see me do and the processes that I've taken you through, you can use them also on your own clients. So on your event organizers and on your hotel booking guests and your hotels. Effectively, you've got 3 clients: events, guests, and hotels that you can be managing through your CRM. All right. Thank you so much for being with us. I look forward to seeing you next week or during our one-to-one chats. So bye for now.